Hi, this video is about choosing a RV or a timeshare. In my case, I chose timeshare, so I'll walk you through that process. But the things I considered really are five things. One, what's the overall purchase price, whether you're purchasing an RV or you're purchasing a series of timeshares. What are the maintenance fees? In other words, what's it take a little more obvious on an RV, what maintenance would be, but there's maintenance fees on timeshares, sort of the annual maintenance and so forth. The third item is usage fees. So what's it take what's it cost to use it? Are there hidden fees or special fees you need to know when you're actually using it? The fourth item was kind of miscellaneous fees, various things you need to take into consideration. And the last thing is the environment, which is really all about what is life like when you're in an RV and what is life like when you're in a timeshare. And I'll go through each one of those individually. Hi there. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about the purchase price for both an RV and a timeshare. So from a timeshare, if you spend around $200,000, which sounds like a lot, but is actually less than an RV, you'll get 10 to 12 weeks a year in Hawaii. So that's probably the most expensive place, one of the most expensive places you can go. And then in addition to that, you can get unlimited kind of last minute specials that typically are around $1,300 a month. So if you look at that with a $200,000 investment, you can get 10 to 12 weeks in Hawaii plus last minute specials around the US in various locations. On the other hand, if you look at an RV, the big buses that you see driving along the freeway are roughly at least 250,000, sometimes up to 600,000. So I kind of use as a ballpark of $400,000. So when I looked at whether I should buy a timeshare or an RV, I very quickly led myself to the timeshare. And here's the other thing: is I'm 65 years old, and many people that are 65 live to be into their 90s. And my view was, if I actually use the RV as a vehicle to live in and travel around the United States, I'd put a lot of miles on it, and so it probably would only last like you'd expect a car to last, and after 15 years I have to buy another one. So even though timeshares, it looks like $200,000 is cheaper, with an RV, the likelihood, if you plan out your retirement, is you're going to be spending it for twice. So that's going to be $800,000, assuming they don't get more expensive in the future, which again is highly unlikely that that will happen. Hi, I want to talk a little bit now about the maintenance fees based on my research. So I looked at, again, $200,000 was the amount of purchase price that I talked about for timeshares. And that gets you about 8 weeks, 8 to 10 weeks. And that's about $8,000 a year for the maintenance. So if you add in about another 5K, that's about 4 months worth of last minute specials. And that gets you about 30 weeks worth of use. And that's at about $13,000 total for your sort of maintenance fees. An RV, I made the view, if you're actually going to see the U.S., you want to do a lot of travel. So I assumed 20,000 miles of travel to see across the U.S. multiple times. And that turns into about $15,000 to $20,000 for gas just alone. And then I threw in around $2,000 for propane, sewage, cleaning, repairs of the vehicle, and oil changes and all those kind of things based on 30 weeks a year. So that was my comparison that I came up with, which I felt was reasonable because I'd want to do a lot of driving. Hi, I wanted to talk briefly about the miscellaneous fees. In the timeshare, the cable, utilities, sewage, garbage are all included. There are no gym fees because most of the units have gyms in them, and there's a minor cost for Wi-Fi. That can be, $20 a week at most. Usually it's free at most locations, but I just wanted to throw that in that it could be up to $10 to $20 a week for Wi-Fi. In the case of an RV, if you want Wi-Fi, you have to buy Wi-Fi, you have to buy your satellite TV. Garbage fees are extra depending on where you're staying. That can be included in campgrounds, but more often than not, that has to be done. And if you unload your sewage at a lot of the rest areas, that's usually a $10 fee. So again, there's quite a bit of fees. It's actually not that much different than being in your home. Um, that you have to pretty much cover all the utilities that you have. Hi, in this segment I'm talking about the miscellaneous fees. For the timeshare, the cable, utilities, the sewage, garbage are all included. The gym fee is not required because there's usually gyms on all locations that I've stayed at. There's a minor cost for some Wi-Fi's. Most of them are included, but that can sometimes be $10 a week. But the bigger cost is the $3,000 for your car that you don't necessarily need with your RV. You've got $1,000 for insurance, you've got $500 for maintenance, and then $1,500 for gas for that period for the 20,000 miles. For the RV, you have to buy Wi-Fi, satellite, TV. There's no gym, so roughly, if you assume Wi-Fi and cable, you're probably looking at $100 to $200 a month to get the full cable package and the full Wi-Fi. So you're adding another $3,000 to $4,000 a year. The last area I looked at was what's the environment like timeshare versus an RV, and I did quite a bit of camping when my kids were younger, and the environment that I saw a lot of the RVs in was in the campgrounds. So those are beautiful places often. They can be expensive. The other problem is if you choose not to stay at a campgrounds because of cost, then you're in a parking lot of a Walmart, or you're in some kind of not best location, parking by the side of the street. So personally, I ultimately came down to I'd like to wake up every morning and know that there's a jacuzzi and a swimming pool, and almost all the timeshares have, in many cases, they have fabulous jacuzzis and fabulous swimming pools, and I don't find that so much in the RV lifestyle. So again, this is just my personal choice of what I wanted to do. The other thing is, if something goes wrong in my RV, I got to fix it, or I got to expend a lot of money to have somebody else fix it. If something goes wrong in a timeshare, I dial the operator and somebody comes in and takes care of it for me. And the other thing is once a week I get cleaning done. I know that sounds trivial, but I don't want to have to, if I can have somebody clean once a week versus having my own RV, it's really like your house. You're going to have to clean it up and take care of it. I will say there's some great advantages of an RV, because one of the things that if you're living in a timeshare, you really have to have everything that you're living with inside your car, because that is the vehicle that you have to store things in. If you have an RV, you have an abundance of space, and I think that's a great advantage of an RV. So one of the choices I've had to make is to keep my life really, really simple and to keep it to where I can fit everything in a car. In summary, I wanted to go through the costs overall. So for a timeshare, you purchase around $200,000 for the purchase of the timeshares. You have about $13,000 annually for your maintenance fees. Usage fees of another $1,000 plus $3,000 for the cover your gas for your car, maintenance and insurance. And then kind of the environment is the environment you get, so there's no cost with that. With an RV, your purchase price is around $400,000. And again, I'd say that's times two, because if you plan to live a long life, then you probably have to buy a second one. So that comes into about $800,000. The maintenance is about $17,000 for gas and servicing of the RV. Most of it's for gas. And the usage fees are $5,000 for the RV overnight parking in the various locations. And miscellaneous fees, I put in $1,000 for satellite, TV, cable, and again, environment is free. And so that was my bottom line. So what was surprising is when I looked at my analysis, and my experience so far has been that the timeshare is cheaper both to buy and to maintain, which was not what I originally expected. Thank you for your time.